I am Nancy. I am a homeschool mom to a 5th grader and a 7th grader. And today I thought it would be fun for us to go through what is in store for this next upcoming week. And I did a little bit of back to school shopping in terms of like supplies and things, and I got in some new curriculum and stuff, so I thought we'd roll it all into one video. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with morning work. So if you're new to here, by the way, I loop out our morning work. There's some things that remain consistent until we finish it to fruition, and then we replace it with something else. But there are things that I just like to loop in, just to change up the pace so it's not the same old every single morning and stuff. So you're gonna see some stuff that is the same from weeks prior when I've shared, and some things that have changed. So this has not changed. We are literally still reading our way through here, and this will not change probably until December. I think sometime in December we'll finally be done. We're literally just going, here, let me move the books out of the way. We are about halfway, and we started this, I would say, in the fall of last year. So it's taken us quite a bit because we're just doing story by story. It's not because it's complex. It's not because the sections are really long. It's nothing like that. It's just that we're just doing one small section. I could finish this at the end of this month if I wanted to, but I just am taking one short little story and that's it, you know? So there's that. We are reading our way through Robinson Crusoe. I think there's a lot of positives to Robinson Crusoe, and then there's a negative in that it's not as engaging, you know? But there's a lot of positives because it is written, I think this was written in the late 1700s, early 1800s, I think, or mid 1800s. So a lot of the style of writing in here is older. And I think that that's a benefit because we don't often read a lot of older books. Like we read classics and stuff. Like we just finished reading Moby Dick, but we just finished doing the Peter Pan Unabridged. We've done Mary Poppins Unabridged, Anne of Green Gables Unabridged. Like there's a lot of like unabridged, but this one just tends to be a little bit drier. And I actually like that because it's teaching them not everything is going to come hard and fast, like a lot of like the modern books nowadays. So it's teaching them to kind of like get used to this older style of writing and the slow build up. And then there's a lot of inferencing and context clues that they have to use to figure out because some of the words are really old. And so, which makes for a really great vocabulary practice and discussions and stuff. But they're, I just think it's really great overall for variety in our particular book readings that we've been doing lately. I've been liking it. Is it the most riveting and climatic and kind of like, no, it's not. It's more of like a slow burn type of thing, you know? But where are we in? We're in chapter 2. Okay, so we are just now, yeah, chapter 2. We're just now getting into like the meat of it, you know? But yeah, I do recommend it. It's just more of a slow burn type of thing. So we're doing that. Spanish, we started last week and it is going fantastic. This probably has to be the highlight of my kids' morning, and we're on lesson 9. So we take it step by step. I was going to say a fluent Spanish speaker. I am not. I'm a native Spanish. Like, what do I say? I was born, my mom is Hispanic, okay? I grew up in a very Hispanic household. Everybody spoke Spanish and stuff. My grandma only speaks Spanish, like that kind of stuff. But I've lost a lot of my Spanish. I've lost a lot of Spanish along the way, you know? And so it is easier for me because I know the words and I know what they mean. So we're able to go through it like at a little bit of a faster pace, you know? So anyway, so my boys have really been enjoying it though. It's very easy to implement. Very good. Another new thing is we're doing this fish tank unit, and we're doing it family style, 5th grade, protecting the earth. If you followed any of my other videos, you know that I've been trying to do an ocean conservation type of study. And it was this book. I got this book and 2 other books. And I was going to put like a study together myself. Like I was going to create one. And then the Mama Librarian, I believe, like she posted this unit and that this unit uses this book. And I was like, what? I somehow missed it. I'm not new to Fish Tank. I've been using Fish Tank off and on for probably like 6 or 7 years. And so I just completely missed it and didn't notice that they had a Protecting the Earth plastic pollution one and that they were using using this book. So thank you. Huge shout out to her because I would have missed it otherwise. So we're going to go ahead and we're doing this feeling style. And this is probably going to take us 3 weeks because there's wonderful writing prompts and opportunities in here. There are articles, there are videos to watch. But for me, there's some really great writing prompts in here that I want to take advantage of and I want us to do. So there are 18 lessons, I believe. Yeah, there's 18 lessons. A couple of them can probably be combined depending, but at least 18 lessons worth. So it's going to take us 3 to 4 weeks to get through it. And so I do want to finish my other 2 books that I got though. So I may also interweave those in addition to this one. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to dive into this on Monday. And then the final piece that I have is we're going to read this, No Voice Too Small, 14 Young Americans Making History. And so we learn about specific young people, and there's like pieces of poetry to go along with it. And I think this is a really great one, especially because it ties in beautifully with the poetry unit that I'm already doing with my younger kiddo. Sorry, I just realized that you guys can't really even see. So that is pretty much what our mornings are gonna look like for this upcoming week. And again, next week it might be a little bit different. Like this will probably be finished most likely with this book. So we'll probably still though be doing Spanish. We'll probably still be doing this fish tank unit. And we're probably still gonna be doing Robinson. Sorry, I'm dropping books everywhere. I am probably still gonna be doing Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe is probably gonna take us like a month to get through just because it's really dense. It is really dense text. And then we're still gonna be working our way through this, you know? So then we'll see. You'll notice that I don't have philosophy up here. Philosophy is just getting looped out for a couple weeks. You'll notice that I don't have the Memoria Press poetry unit in there. We may bring it back next week, who knows? But when I bring something in, I have to even it out by taking something out. So you bring something in, you take something out. If not, my morning time will last like 2 hours instead of like, we usually spend about 40 minutes in the morning, kind of waking up. The boys are eating breakfast during this time. All right, let's move on to 5th grade ELA. By the way, you may notice that I'm not really sharing a lot of my 7th graders ELA. That's because every time I get ready to do a video, it makes it incredibly hard because he does a lot of his school up in his room and he has like a desk in his room. So he does his math and he does half of his ELA up there. And so I'm like, by the time I do my video, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go upstairs to get all the stuff, you know? And I also don't want to interfere with his workflow because he has his things spread out like a certain way and I may not put it back exactly the same way. So I'm going to be a lot more consistent in sharing my 5th graders, and every now and then I will be sharing my 7th graders. Okay. But this week I'm not going to be sharing my 7th graders again, because it's all the way upstairs and I'm just too lazy to go up there and get it. Also, again, I don't want to disrupt his workflow. Okay. New to us. Let me put this off to the side. It's not new to us. Actually, let me rephrase. New to the lineup is Writing and Rhetoric, Book 1, Fables. If you have followed me, over the past, like, how long have I been sharing on Instagram? I think I had my homeschool account on Instagram maybe 3 years or something. So you may have noticed that this is not the first time that I'm using this book 1 in particular. So I first used Writing and Rhetoric with my oldest son when he was in 3rd grade. Horrible flop. He just did not like this method of doing school. Actually, it wasn't that horrible. It was just, we weren't getting a lot out of it at the time, right? So then I kept the book and I tried it again with my youngest when he was in 3rd grade, and it was a horrible flop. But I think there's a couple factors that contributed to it. Is just that we just didn't understand the methodology in here as well as we should have, you know? So I dabble a little bit in classical curriculum. There's certain pieces that fall under that umbrella, but we weren't really following the methodology. It wasn't really until last fall that I really started to incorporate more of the classical curriculum, educating myself more, reading up on it, and I started to understand how and why they do certain things. So I started switching over with my youngest in particular, a lot more narration, a lot more copy work, a lot more dictation, like a whole lot of that. And now that we are used to that method, I feel like we can come back and revisit it. And I think that this is going to be a really good fit. Also, as a side note, I don't know necessarily if I agree with these grade recommendations in here. I don't know. Maybe. So I think it's just very dependent on that particular child and stuff. If you've been following the classical method, I think that you can probably very easily at grades 3 to 4 jump right into it because it would be just a natural extension of what it is that you're already doing. But if you don't really follow the classical approach, and I mean follow it, not just every now and then I use some of their curriculum type of thing. Like, I mean, if you're doing the copy work, the dictation, the narration, you've educated yourself on why certain things are done a certain way for the classical methodology, then I think you can easily jump into it at grades 3 or 4. But for us, because we didn't really jump into it until the beginning of last year, and I started to really educate myself on this whole approach, and I started to understand it, now I get it, okay? Now I get it. So my goal is to go through book 1, book 2, and book 3 for his 5th grade year. This shouldn't be too hard, especially because the very first time that we jumped into this curriculum, we got halfway through it. So what I'm gonna do, just to refresh our memory, is we are going to be flying through the first half of these lessons until we get to one of the new lessons that we haven't done before. Then we're going to slow it down and stretch it out over a 1 week's time. But for now, we may be doing 2 lessons a week and stuff, and just kind of like going over it. And because I know my kid's going to remember this, and he's like, why am I reading about the crow in the picture again? And he's going to get bored really quick. So I'm going to have to modify these lessons. I don't want to just start in where we left off, which was like, I don't know, lesson like 6 or something. I don't want to see, I think, you see, we did this one. We did grasping at shadows, a dog. So that was lesson 7. How far did we go here? We just didn't finish it. I mean, I could just start in the next book. I don't know. I could just start in the next book, but I do think that we would benefit from a refresher. I don't know. So anyway, we're probably going to fly through this one, and then we're going to go into book 2. And that one, we're just going to do 1 lesson, 1 week, and then we're just going to space it out that way. This one, you're just going to notice that we may fly through it a little bit more. So anyway, writing and rhetoric, we're bringing it back. He is also doing this Beyond the Page poetry unit, which is why this book was perfect just as a tie-in. And we've also been doing the Memoria Breast poetry. In case you haven't seen any of my other videos, we're doing for the grammar stage, and it has been fantastic. So I always want like a piece of poetry, but right now we're going to break up the monotony of always doing the Memoria Press one, and we're just doing this one. So anyway, it ties in perfectly with here. There's one last thing that we didn't do in lesson 3 that I want us to do before we move on to lesson 4. And that was doing a piece of poetry over the state of Pennsylvania. And so the quality isn't that good. It may be a little bit blurry because I took it from online. I found like a freebie online, but you know, sometimes those freebies aren't like as crisp and stuff. So I just printed that out. So I want him to finish this before we move on to lesson 4. But it has been pretty good. This may be my favorite unit from Beyond the Page, but I've only done 2 units so far. So take that with a grain of salt. I've only done 2. But anyway, so we may jump into lesson 4 on Monday after we do this piece of poetry. I don't know. Or maybe we just stick it with that and then do lesson 4 the next day. But anyway, we're still working our way through this. There are 9 lessons, but a couple of the lessons, hold on, let me go back. And a couple of the lessons are multiple day lessons. Actually, that's the one that that's the one that we already did. So we're here. These are all singular days. Actually, yeah. So there's 10 lessons and then your final project. So actually, never mind. So this may actually only take us, we should be done with this unit by the end of next week, basically. All right. So we'll be done with that unit by the end of next week. One of the things that they had us do was memorize a piece of poetry, and for the rest of like the unit, have them recited every day. And they wanted us to use R is for rhyme, a poetry alphabet. And it's a wonderful book. I don't have it in front of me or I'd show you, but if you see my previous videos, you already know which one it is. And it's wonderful. It's full of like silly rhymes, and it's a really cute one. But if I'm gonna have my child like memorize a piece of poetry, and we're gonna go through the effort of doing that, I want it to be a quality piece. So I gave my son an option of a Robert Frost, like stopping by the woods on a snowy evening, doing something like that, or Langston Hughes. And he picked Langston Hughes. And on top of that, he picked one of my favorite pieces of poetry from Langston Hughes, which is this one, The Dream Keeper. So he chose this one to memorize, which I think is just beautiful. Anyway, I just wanted to add that in there because I think that was a really cool tie-in, like memorizing a piece of poetry. By the way, do you know why memorization is good? It's because it exercises your brain muscles. Did you know that? I thought that was interesting. Anyway, so you have that. We are doing arrow. The Boy Who Saved Baseball. This is my very first Arrow. And I picked it just off of the book. Just off of the book. I'm like, okay, I'll do it, you know? Now, Arrow isn't going to, like the Brave Writer, in my opinion, isn't going to take you hand by hand and tell you Monday you do this, Tuesday you do this, Wednesday you do this, because that's not that type of curriculum. It's not intended to do that. Instead, what it does is it gives you a list of things to cover for that week, and you can approach it however you want. You can cover it all on one day. You can split it up into little pieces, like however you want to do it and stuff. And so that's kind of how I've been approaching it. I take like a little chunk of it and we approach it to our reading and stuff. So I'll do a different video on how I approach the Brave Writer specifically, like what I'm specifically taking out and how I'm approaching it in a different video. But this has been good. I think that he's probably going to be done with it this week though. And that's been a little bit hard for me to kind of, the downside to picking a theme that my son is really into is that he wants to read more of the book. You know, and so we may be done with this Arrow this week, but if I can stretch it out to the full 3 weeks into the next following week, then great, then that's what I'm going to do. But that is, oh no, that is not his ELA. Hold on. The final thing that we're going to be working on is going through the writing portion in here from grammar and writing, and we're doing the writing portion to this. And we're going to be tying it in with our science this upcoming week. It's an opinion piece, and so it's going to line up perfectly with that. Oh no, that is not it. Hold on. Oh my goodness. I am so scattered. It's because I keep them in a separate location. It's not all on his desk because I don't also want him to get overwhelmed when he sees like a lot of workbooks on his desk. So some stuff I just keep separate. So first language lessons from the Well-Trained Mind. He's actually really been loving it. So if you missed it, for those of you guys who don't follow me on Instagram, I was using the writing and grammar. Oh, and I still owe you guys a side-by-side flip through. A couple of you guys wanted to see why my son did not like the grammar from here. And I said, I visually will have to like show it to you so you guys can see. There's a lot of like visual overwhelm when it happens like with their grammar. And after a year of doing it, it was a chore for us to get through. And grammar is not a hill I'm willing to die on because I feel every single grammar curriculum is going to teach you the exact same thing. Like there's no such thing. I feel in the grammar curriculum, one's more rigorous than the other. It's literally the exact same thing, you know? So I ended up switching him over to this one and it has been a breath of fresh air. Really, really been enjoying it. Okay. So there's one more component to our ELA, and I'm going to show it to you guys. Hold on. I'm going to move the camera from its base so you guys can see because I just got it in the mail. All right. Ta-da! I never would have thought in a million years, not because I think this is a horrible curriculum, but I just didn't think that it was going to be a curriculum that my kids would have benefited from. There's some curriculum, like you guys can look at some of these other pieces of curriculum and be like, that's not for us. That's not for us. Well, this was one of them that was just not for us. And I actually tried book 1 with my oldest and it just got too tedious for him. He got so bored by the repetition and stuff and doing the same thing every single day. Well, guess what? That exact reason is why I'm getting it for my youngest, because he can really benefit from the mundane, the everyday, over and over again. That is what he needs. My oldest didn't need it. It was horrible for us at that time. However, different child, different situation, and this is going to be awesome. I hope. We will see. So I'm adding that to the lineup. Hold on a second. And then I also got a couple other books because I wanted to meet the free shipping. That's how they get you, you know. I wanted to get meet the free shipping from Rainbow Resources. Anyway, I got Norse myths and Viking legends. So we got that one. That's what it looks like. And I got Viking tales. And that's what it looks like in the inside. Okay. So that is officially my lineup for my 5th grader. There's something else in here missing that you may have noticed. Hold on, let me put this back on the stand so I stop shaking everything. There's something else that you may have noticed that is not currently in rotation and that I shared over on Instagram that is in our lineup. And we've actually already done 10 lessons worth of it. It is the IEW, the structure and style. I think is it 1B or 1? I don't know. I think it's 1A or 1B. we're doing that, but that can get a little old and like a little repetitive and stuff. So we stopped doing it about a month and a half ago, I think it's been, but I do plan on bringing it back into rotation. When I plan on putting it back into rotation is when I am done with this book. When I'm done with book 1, I'm going to bring it back into rotation. Okay. So that is the plan. Remember, when I bring something in, something has got to go out. And then I also don't want us to be doing a Beyond the Page unit at that time too. So it's going to get time to where when we finish a Beyond the Page and when we're finished with this, that's when I'm going to bring in IEW, because IEW does take a good amount of time, at least half an hour, I would say. If you're following along in the video though, lately we haven't been following along in the video and he just flies through it faster. Sometimes the video is filled with a lot of like narrative fluff sometimes, and I get it because he's trying to relate to the kids. He's trying to make himself, you know, more engaging so that they'll listen, but sometimes it extends the lesson more than it has to. So sometimes we're just not in the mood for that, and he'll just do the lesson just on like from the book and not watch the video, you know? But anyway, here's Fix It Grammar, Town Mouse and Country Mouse, level 2. I went with I didn't want to do level 1 because it seemed like it was just a lot of just like basic, like parts of speech type of thing. And I feel like we're beyond that at this point. I probably could have done them at lesson 3, but I didn't want to. I just was like, well, what's the rush? Just do level 2. And if a lot of this is review for him, great. That's kind of what I want anyway. So the intention behind this is that he's going to be doing this independently, something that I do not have to be a part of at all. So while I'm working with his brother or something, he can quickly just knock this out. And my intention behind this too is that it's not going to add a lot of extra time to our day, something that literally he just takes 5 minutes and then just does on his own. So that's the intention behind it. What is this? Oh, this is the teacher's manual. The teacher's manual is heavier than the student book. So anyway, there you go. So that is my 5th graders like lineup right now for ELA. And we are working our way through confidence, math with confidence. I am so ate up. Hold on, guys. I am all over the place. It's because I don't have all my things in one area. Okay. Which I need to change. So this is the week where I am spiraling in the 2nd unit from Beyond the Page. So for the first 2 weeks of doing Beyond the Page, I just wanted us to get to know like how the curriculum works, how to navigate it, get used to something completely new. Because again, this is the first time that we've ever done any other curriculum other than Eureka. Actually, that's a lie. We did Right Start when he was in kindergarten and in 1st grade, but we always did that in conjunction with Eureka, you know? So this is the first time that we're not using Eureka like at all. So I wanted us to get, you know, to get situated with math with confidence first. And then we're also going to integrate this into our math. So I am doing this, and we're just going to take this a little bit at a time. So we may not like see how it says basic operations with multi-digit numbers 3 days. It may take us 3 days or it may take us 5 days. We're just going to take them in little chunks at a time. And I think that overall is going to give us a very robust math curriculum for the year. It's going to give him the extra practice that he needs. It's going to keep him engaged, I feel. So I am so far pretty fond of the math, except, you know which part I don't like? I don't like all the video links because it kind of takes us out of our, like when we're doing school and then we're watching like a video thing and then we have to come back and then sometimes you have to go back to watching a video thing and then you come back and do your work. Sometimes you do that like 3 times. And so I don't like that. I don't mind video links in my, like our school content. Like I do that all the time, but usually the video links are either going to be at the beginning of a lesson and then we do the book work, or at the end of a lesson. But the back and forth is kind of, it gets a little annoying. That's my only issue with the math thing. So this math curriculum has been pretty fine. I checked it against my state standards. I checked it against Eureka itself, and it's covering all the same thing. It's covering literally the same thing. It's just how they go about it has been a little bit different. And so far, I am really enjoying it. So I'm liking this, and I'm adding in this for a little extra work, you know? So that is math, and that is my 5th graders ELA. Now let me show you a couple things that I recently got. So I got a couple games. I got Logic Links The reviews on it looked good. It says, use the clues, arrange the chips, solve the puzzle. So I actually have no idea really how it's going to work. I was just looking for some logic-based like game, not like a workbook or anything like that, that would be kind of interesting. Maybe something they can do while they're waiting for me while I'm working with their brother or something, you know? And then multiplication by heart, because we still need to continue working on multiplication fluency. We're not exactly where I would like us to be with that. I got us, guys, the amount of index cards that I bought is a little bit ridiculous. But my goal is we're really going to bump up the use of index cards to study. And so I just got like a whole bunch. But look at how pretty this pastel one is. And look at those colors in the back. They're all in here, these two colors. Isn't it pretty? So I got that, but I got a lot of ringed notebook cards, the kind that come like in a ring. But these, if we need loose leaf. And then I also got this cute little like acrylic holder for it. They make so many like cute ones. There's like boxes and stuff, but I just like this open-ended one. So that way, whatever it is that they're studying and working on, they can just put it in here, you know? Isn't that cute? It's just like a cute little one. And then, hold on, let me go grab it. I just got like a couple books. There's actually more books that are coming in the mail because I don't know if you guys knew this, but Thrift Books was having a sale for a lot of their books. If you get the red tag deal stuff, it's $3. And compare like when you, so you can get like a book for $3. And then you also get free shipping if you spend over $20, I think, in shipping. So then they have that. But then, of course, you're also accruing points as you do it. And so I feel like for every order, I'm still getting like an additional book on top of that. And so I just felt like it was a really good deal. So anyway, Nettie and Nettie Crook, Orphan Train Sisters. It's based on a true story. So they have others, other titles and stuff that you can get. So I got that one, The Girl and the Ghost. And then the rest just haven't come in the mail. So anyway, that's what I have. A little bit of new curriculum, a couple little pieces of supply, school supplies, and a couple books. And that is our ELA and our math and our morning work. And then for science, might as well go into science. Hold on, let me show you. So this is our science. I'm not going to share our history lineup just because I'm not that coordinated today and I don't have all my ducks in a row and I don't have anything put together to show you guys. But right now, this is our final week that we're going to be doing Story of the World Volume 3. And then we're going to switch over starting next week to the history of us and focusing more on the American Revolution. And that is where we're going to be probably for a solid 2 months before we move on. We're really doing a deep dive into the American Revolution. So anyway, I'm not going to share that because that's like a whole thing. But I am going to share a lesson too from Oak Meadow, grade 5. So this lesson has to do with frogs and how the frog's habitat is being changed by outside factors like pesticides and the weather and things like that, and predators and things of that sort. I have this in here because I found this on online as a free resource, and you cut this out and you can match it against like the bird beak and then what it's for and stuff. And I forgot to do it this last week, so I want to make sure that we do it this week. So anyway, so it's all about frogs. And guess what? We have a frog pond we actually have 2 frog ponds like in our backyard. One is actually right outside our window. Hold on. I'm going to show it to you. Let's see if you can see it. Right? Can you guys see that? Our frog pond is right there. And we gotta weed it out a little bit. It's looking a little crazy. But we have a frog pond over there. And then we have a huge one that we stock with fish every now and then for the kids to go fishing. But it's behind the wood line over there. So that's our driveway. Where you see that, that's our driveway to go behind the house. We have 2, that's a driveway to go. Actually, it leads to my husband's wood shop in the back. But if you go beyond that, there is a pond, like a larger pond. And so that one doesn't really have like many frogs. It's mainly fish. And we have like herons that go in there and like take the fish a lot. But we're really going to be focusing on that pond. So anyway, so this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to read a couple of the pages in here. There's usually no more than like 3 or 4 pages worth of text. And we're going to make a prediction about the local frog population. We are going to set up an experiment for it, how humans affect the environment. We're going to complete a test, like a science test. And we're going to, the experiment in here. And so for that, we're going to test the acidity of our frog pond. And that's part of our thing. And I picked up these like strips and stuff. So anyway, you have a choice of what experiment that you want to do. But I thought since we have a frog pond, doing the frog pond one was going to be interesting. You can do it on habitat destruction, pollution, pesticides, or acid rain, ultraviolet radiation, competition, and predators. So, I mean, we could have done it on the other pond, though, with the herons taking all our fish. But the other pond, the one that I showed you guys, that's the one that really has all the frogs in it. So anyway, I have additional books that we're going to use. Sorry, we're so close to the camera. Hold on. Okay, from tadpole to frogs, I found this one at the library, and it is gorgeous. This is totally for little kids, but man, like look at the illustrations with a little bit of text. And one of the test questions in there is explain the life cycle of a frog. So this is literally explaining the life cycle of a frog. A little bit of text, gorgeous pictures. So we are doing that one. And then I have Gail Gibbons. You can't go wrong with Frogs by Gail Gibbons because he has to, let me go back in here. There's actually a writing piece. And this is where our opinion writing piece for ELA is going to come in. Right here. Write a paragraph about the ways humans have affected the environment, both for good and bad. Do some research on this topic so you can back up your thoughts with facts, support your opinion, and include any ideas you may have for ways that people can change their behavior to help the environment. So we're going to tie that into our ELA. So we have this book and then this book. Have you guys ever seen this book? This book, I was actually surprised. I've actually seen this book quite a bit, but I don't think I ever cracked it open. So when you open it up, it's illustrations. There's not any like real photography or anything, but it's a 2-page spread. So this is talking about the skin of a frog. This one's talking about the fact that it has a semi-permeable skin. This one is the stuff that they eat. So what do frogs eat? How do they eat them? Like sticky frog tongue and things like that. And then dress for success, camouflaging, right? Isn't that pretty cool? So anyway, so I have that one. Now this one again is a book that's kind of like below our grade level, like way below, but it's for the photography. So let me show you. Look at the photography. So there's a little bit of text that goes along with it. I mean, look at that. You can really see up close on the bumpy skin of that frog. You know? And so I thought that would be cool for us to look at. Maybe something that I just have on the table open to like a specific page, like on our stand, scattered around so he can see it. And then this book, The Frog Scientist, has a lot of information, coincidentally, on things being discussed in here, how pesticides are like destroying the frog habitat and stuff, like all that kind of stuff. And what are they doing in this one? They're talking about pesticides destroying the frog habitat. And I thought that was great. Actually, I made a mistake. This is going to be part of our morning time. This is part of our morning time read. So I have to add this to our morning time because my oldest also wants to learn about frogs. And so I figured, well, we'll just do it as part of our morning read. So actually, this has to go as part of what we're doing in the morning and reading through it, you know? So anyway, so that's what I have. I just have like a couple extra books in there. But that's what we're doing for Oak Meadow. Also, we have our science. Also, we've been really into art, watercoloring. So we're probably going to be doing that every single day. And one thing that we have not rotated in yet is geography. So geography is going to get rotated back in. Not this week, though, next week. And there you go, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If you guys have any other cool books that I should... No, don't tell me. Don't tell me because I can't get it. I'm done. I'm done planning for the week. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. See you guys next time.